When a superpower collapses, the world doesn't catch its breath. It scrambles. It fucking panics. It rearranges itself, trying to figure out what the fuck comes next. That's exactly what happened when the Mongols vanished from the global stage. One day the world was terrified of a cavalry charge. The next day, the horsemen were gone, scattered, leaderless, irrelevant. And the rest of the world? They had to rebuild everything the Mongols had broken. This is the part nobody talks about. What the planet looked like the day after the storm. The Mongols had smashed borders, destroyed dynasties, erased cities, and connected continents. Now the vacuum they left behind sucked every kingdom, tribe, and ambitious warlord into a race to define the new normal. And everyone had different ideas about what the new normal should be. Over in Anatolia, the Ottomans rose like they'd been waiting for the Mongols to get the fuck out the way. They didn't inherit Mongol land. They fucking stole it. While the Mongols had been burning the Middle East, the Ottomans quietly studied their tactics. Speed, discipline, shock warfare, logistics, ruthlessness. And when Baghdad was rubble, when Persia was confused, when the trade cities were fighting for scraps, the Ottomans slid in. Russia didn't rise because the Mongols weakened. Russia rose because the Mongols had ruled them so long, they learned the tactics. Centralized taxation, census systems, absolute rule with zero tolerance for dissent. The Mongols didn't inspire Russia, they fucking built it. And after the Golden Horde imploded, Moscow stepped right into the power vacuum. The Ming dynasty took over China with one goal: let's fix everything. And China, after the Mongols, looked like someone had ripped the wiring out of a skyscraper. Systems gone, food distribution ruined, infrastructure falling apart, entire regions depopulated. And then the Ming stepped in. They rebuilt canals, restored agriculture, revived bureaucratic exams, and rebuilt the Great Wall. They even standardized currency. But the irony? The Ming worldview was paranoid, defensive, and centralized. And it was shaped by one thing: the fear the Mongols might return. Persia got hit the fucking hardest. The Khans tore through it like they invented chaos. When the Mongols were gone, Persia had to reconstruct everything. Culturally, politically, spiritually. And out of that chaos came new dynasties, new scholars, astronomers, and architects. Tabriz, once a Mongol capital, became a scientific hub again. People rebuilt observatories, universities opened, and artists emerged from the ashes. Persia didn't return to what it had been, but it became something entirely new. And people always think empires leave statues and ruins behind. Nah, man. Some empires leave cultural fusion. The Mongols mixed Eurasia into one giant historical smoothie. And when the empire fell, everyone kept drinking it. I mean, food changed. Noodles moved west. Spices moved east. Persian lamb dishes picked up Chinese ingredients. Chinese kitchens picked up Central Asian techniques. Silk Road cities became food laboratories. You can thank the Mongols for that. Languages changed. Words spread like wildfire. Arabic absorbed Mongol military terms. Turkic languages spread across the steppe like a second skin. Chinese picked up new vocabulary from steppe administration. The Mongols didn't spread their language, but they blended everyone else's. Even music changed. The two-string horsehead fiddle of Mongolia traveled west. Persian lutes traveled east. Silk Road bands mixed instruments from 6 cultures and created fusion before fusion was even cool. A lot of medieval music we think of as traditional only exists because Mongols bulldozed cultural barriers. Once you connect the world, people need to know where everything is. Cartographers across Europe and the Islamic world suddenly had new data, new distances, new borders, new peoples they had never heard of. The first real world maps owe their accuracy to Mongol couriers and travelers who described what they saw. The Mongols didn't draw the map. They forced the world to redraw it. And here's the part nobody writes about. What did ordinary people feel when the Mongols disappeared? It wasn't relief, or joy, or triumph. They felt lost. Because for 3 generations, the Mongols had been the only constant. Love them or fear them, they were like the weather. Then one day, no horsemen, no tax collectors, no envoys, no rules, just silence. Imagine being born during Mongol rule. Your entire life, every harvest, every famine, every law was under Mongol command. Then one day, new emperor, new system, new taxes, new rules. People weren't celebrating. They were scared. Uncertainty terrifies people more than any army. For 200 years, the Mongol yoke was the only political reality. Suddenly, Moscow stands up and says we're free now. And the people? They don't even know what that means. Like, who's in charge? Who protects us? Who punishes us? Who decides our fate? The psychological adjustment took generations. For the herders, the end of the empire was like the end of music in a nightclub. Too sudden, too quiet. Their world had been loud, victorious, confident. Now it was fragmented, confused, and slipping away. Some missed the glory, the unity, the simplicity. But not everyone wanted the empire back. But nobody knew how to live without it. And once the empire was dead, Genghis Khan, Temujin, stopped being history. He became a story. Legend. The kind that grows in the dark when people need meaning. Temujin became a symbol of unity, order, power, identity, and what the steppe used to be. People started telling stories that made him bigger, stronger, smarter, wiser, more heroic, more supernatural than he ever was. Not because they lied, but because trauma demands mythology. When the world collapses, people don't want facts. They want a figure to anchor the chaos. Temujin became that figure, without even trying. And that myth sets the stage to where we go back. Not to the empire, but to the boy who created it. You can't end the world without starting somewhere. And that somewhere was a kid on the steppe, holding on to survival with everything he had. The world after the Mongols proves one thing that still hits today. When a superpower collapses, the world keeps moving, but nobody knows where they're going. The Mongols reshaped everything, then disappeared, and the rest of the world had to reinvent itself on the fly. Does that sound familiar? That's why history matters. Empires fall. People adapt. Cultures blend. And myths rise. And the future belongs to whoever can rebuild fastest. That's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next one.